Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We're just gonna wait just a minute to make sure everyone's coming in from the waiting room. Welcome and thanks for joining. All right, well, with apologies, my video camera is not turning on today, so I apologize for that. But I do want to welcome you and thank you for joining the Mid-Atlantic Teaching Artists Virtual Retreat today. My name is Susan Auchen, and I work at the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies. This session today will be recorded and later shared. So please do turn off your video if you don't wish to be recorded. And actually, please note that for today's session, our presenters have requested that everyone turn their video off to begin with. So please go ahead and do that if you haven't already. Today's workshop is called Putting Community at the Center of a Community-Based Arts Organization. And it will be led by Alysia Souder, Hector Morales, and Phritz Napoleon. Alysia Souder is the executive director of the Institute of Music for Children in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and has over 25 years of experience in arts education. As a teaching artist, she's worked for organizations across New Jersey and is passionate about the role that arts should play in young people's growth and development. Phritz Napoleon graduated from East Orange STEM Academy in 2020, and beginning this fall, will be attending William Patterson University, majoring in communications. He's attended as well as worked for the Institute of Music as a youth leader, teaching various arts to students, such as acting and music production, while also mentoring them and providing a safe and responsible support system. For the past 15 years, drummer and percussionist Hector Morales has combined national and international performances with his work in the field of arts education. As a master teaching artist, Hector has taught countless music residencies from kindergarten through 12th grade and professional developments through leading arts organizations in the tri-state area. Hector currently performs with the Yuri Juarez Afro-Peruana Ensemble and performs and directs the Afro-Peruvian Ensemble. For more information about Alysia, Hector, and Phritz and their good work, look to the chat box in just a moment to download the retreat presenter packet. Please feel free to chat your questions anytime during the presentation, and I'm going to go ahead and keep track of any of your questions so that our presenters can hear them and address them at the end of their presentation today. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to our producer, Carol Kelly, for a brief review of some of our technical housekeeping items.
Thank you, Susan. Hello, my name is Carol Kelly. As Susan mentioned, I'm the producer for today's session. I'm here to review just a few things to familiarize you with the tools that we'll be using today. Let's start with the next screen. There we go. This screen will allow you to change your views. If you would like to view your interpreter, Laura, our interpreter today, then look for her name or her actual picture, and there's 3 dots at the top right of her picture, and select Pin Video. You will then only see the interpreter in this view. You can also select Gallery View, which is at the top right of your screen, to see both interpreter and presenter. Troubleshooting. In today's, if you get disconnected, please rejoin us by using the same link you used to join us initially. Today's sessions are being recorded, as Susan had earlier mentioned. For immediate assistance, you can contact me. That's my cell number. You can jot it down. I'm available to help if you have any issues. In today's session, we'll be using the chat box. The chat box can be found on a toolbar at the bottom of your screen. If you click on the word chat, it will pop right out. You can move it to one side of your screen. It's good to have this up so you're able to access it easily. Next is the participant box, to the left of the chat box on the same toolbar, the bottom of your screen. Again, click on the word participants to pop it out. This box can be moved as well wherever you'd like to move it on your screen. This particular box allows you to see everyone that is dialed into today, and we'll be reviewing the icons shortly. changing your name. Here's where you can change your name if you'd like to. This is also the place you can add your pronouns if you choose to. So take a minute now to go ahead and give it a try. Just hover over your name, click more, and choose rename, change your screen name displayed to the other participants. Okay, so here are the icons that are found in the participant box that I had asked you to pop out earlier. If you didn't do that, just simply find the word participants at the bottom of your toolbar, pop it out. You might have to scroll down, beneath all the names to find these icons. You'll see a blue virtual hand, a green yes check mark, a red no X, as well as other icons. Just so I know that everyone has found them, would you mind raising your blue virtual hand? There we go. All right, looks like everyone has found them, so great. Thank you very much. And I think we have one more slide after this. Yes, okay. As Susan mentioned earlier, this is a request to turn off your webcams. On your computer, just go to video icon at the bottom left of your screen. Click on the caret and select video settings. Then click hide non-video participants. If you're using a cell phone, it's a little different. Go to more on bottom of your screen. Click on meeting settings, scroll to bottom of menu, and turn off show non-video participants. And that's all that I have for today. So I think we'll get started. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Hezzy, this another one. Institute the music thing. Let's show them how we do it, right? We are holding on to the beauty. Synchronize our hearts. Talk to me now. Supporting each other. Despite the odds. And we are harmony. No longer afraid to be ourselves. We here, having a good time. Acting right, piano and drum line. And we got guitar. Film, dance, making beats and art. Conquer each challenge. Listen to the music. Steps all timeless. We work together. This is how we do it. To make each other better. We listen to the music. This is how we do it. Listen to the music. We all work together to make each other better. This is how we do it. Listen to the music. We all work together to make each other better.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Alysia Souder, and I am the Executive Director of the Institute of Music. We're really excited to be here to talk to you about how we put community at the center of our community arts organization. But I knew I couldn't do it by myself because we are a community, so I brought a couple of people with me. I brought one of our long-term youth leaders with me, and I'm passing it over to him right now.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Phritz Napoleon. As mentioned, I've been a youth leader at the Institute for many years. I'm 18 years old, and this fall I will be attending William-Patterson and University. Joining me, we have a long tenured teacher who's been very committed to the Institute community, Mr. Hector.
Thank you, Fritz, and thank you, Alysia, and thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Hector Morales. I am a teaching artist. I'm a percussionist, originally from Lima, Peru, but I've been with the Institute for about 9 to 10 years. And I'm glad to be here to share also my experience as part of the Institute of Music. So I think we're going to start with an icebreaker. Yes. So real quick, we want everybody to participate in this quick icebreaker. In the Institute of Music, of course, music and not just music, all the arts are at the center of what we do. So we want to start with a musical activity. Yes, if, well, everybody has their cameras off, yes? But I'm going to start playing some snippets of music. And if the music that you hear, kind of, you feel connected to it, you feel like your face has some, bringing some expressions to your face or movement to it, you can turn your camera on. And then when the music changes, you can turn your camera off and just we're going to go through a tour of different styles of music and see which ones you connect with. All right. So let's start with.
You know what, Mr. Hector, I wonder if we should practice just in case people don't know where their camera is, and just to kind of maybe just everyone turn on their camera and then turn off their camera just so we can practice once before we do it.
Sounds great. So, yeah, there it is. Hello.
Hello. Let's see if we can get everyone to turn their camera on real quick. If you are able to, that would be excellent. And we may not be able to do this one, Mr. Hector. Let's
Okay. I mean, maybe if you don't know how to do it, in order to turn the camera on, you just have to step on the camera icon, which is on the bottom left. And, or we can just, should we just do it with the four of us? Oh, Portia. Hi, Portia. Portia's driving. Should we just do it with whoever can do it? Maybe with us, yes, maybe a couple of
Sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. All right.
All right.
So we'll turn our camera. So everyone turn their camera off now, and then we'll try it.
Okay, here we go. Okay, there you go, Fritz. Maybe a little too early for that kind of music. Let's go for the next one. I love our interpreter. Now it's a smooth ride. With Miss Portia. All right, I love it. You have turned your camera on for this one. That works. Me too.
We lost the sound.
All right. Everybody likes reggae music. All right, and we'll have one last one. And Fritz is back, and Alysia is back, and Carol is back. Everybody's back for this one. And I know everybody else that is joining us, even if they were driving or they were not able to, or they were in the chat. They are joining us for this last one, and I think we're ready to go. Yes, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this activity. And now we are going to. I'm going to turn it back to Fritz Napoleon, and he's going to share a little bit of his experience as a youth leader with the Institute of Music.
Thank you.
Hold on 1 second, Fritz. Okay.
Thanks a lot. So there are many aspects to me in building a community, and one of the words I chose to represent this is growth. As you look at this word, it may take on many meanings, but to me, growth is the process of gradual development towards maturity, and this perfectly defines my time at the Institute. And I doubt without the Institute's classes, I would have the confidence to speak here today. Funny enough, when I first found out about the Institute, it wasn't for myself, it was for my sister, and I initially didn't like going to it. I was very closed off and reserved, but with the help of the Institute, the youth leaders, and the teachers, I became immersed in the wonderful culture and community there and began to love going there every single weekend. So I'm gonna begin this slide with this quote: "I am where I am because of the bridges that I cross." I like to think of the youth leaders as the bridge between the teachers and the students. What helped my transition between loving the Institute and not liking it was definitely the youth leaders there. The youth leaders I had were extremely committed to making me feel wanted and included in the community. Seeing youth leaders actively involved in the classes and throughout the campus really made me feel like I belonged and made me love the art forms that I was practicing there. Without them, I doubt that I would have loved being there and would have taken the steps to become one myself. Pictures like these perfectly describe why youth leaders are so important in the classroom. On the left, we have a youth leader whose name is Quincy, who personally affected me a lot. His positivity and great personality made me come out of my shell and helped me a lot when I was acting during certain plays. He always was there to offer me a helping hand, and when I was down on myself, he always gave me a positive word to make me feel encouraged. As you see, the children love being around him, and that's the positive vibe that Quincy always gives off. On the right, we have a youth leader, Mikey, helping a student. As you see in the back, Mr. Ian is occupied teaching other students, but because of the versatility of most of our youth leaders, Mikey is able to help our student in the front with her guitar lessons. On the left, we have myself pictured with my best friend at the Institute and our fellow coworker, Gabby. This definitely represents growth because while Andrew and I were growing up in the Institute, Gabby was once our youth leader. But we eventually worked our way up to be in the same ranks as her. On the right, we have another picture that definitely embodies what it is to be a part of it, to be a youth leader. Excuse me. So being a youth leader, we are all a team. We have a sense of pride and responsibility because we know we have others that are looking up to us. We must be fair and effective problem solvers because we have to deal with many children of different backgrounds and personalities while also being able to think fast and be critical thinkers, because when you're a youth leader, you're never doing the same thing twice. You have to be able to be in multiple classes at once and have different skills in order to be able to be versatile. Go to the next slide. So being a youth leader definitely is not easy, and there are many steps you have to take in order to get to that point. When I started at the Institute, I was first a student, but after a while, I became to love what youth leaders did and what they offered to students. So I began to take the steps to be one myself. First, you must volunteer to show that you can do the tasks that make you, excuse me. First, you must volunteer in order to show that you can work with students and be able to be there when they are needed. After that, you move on to become a junior youth leader. And doing that is very important because you have youth leaders in training that are looking up to you, but you can also learn from the youth leaders that are above you. After that, you became a full-time youth leader, and doing this gives you a lot more responsibility because you have youth leaders in training that are looking up to you, but you also have youth leaders in training, and you have students that are looking up to you. You can go to the next. So next I will introduce Miss Alysia to ask me a few questions about my time at the Institute.
All right. Was that my intro, Fritz?
Sorry.
Okay.
Welcome me.
Hold on. Well, take two.
Okay. Welcoming me now is my amazing, wonderful boss, Miss Alysia.
Okay, that was so much better, but I think you still fell a little short. Just try it one more time. I want you to really think about all that I mean to you and just really give them a sense of who I am. They don't know me, right? So try it again.
Joining me now, we have the once in a lifetime, beautiful, amazing Miss Alysia.
Oh my gosh, Fritz, thank you. You don't have to say all that. Hi, everyone. I wanted to just be able to, good job, Fritz. Thank you for representing so well. And I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. You talked about what it is to become a youth leader and what it's meant to you. Can you tell me why you think that the youth leaders are such an important part of creating community?
So for myself personally, I believe that, youth leaders offer a different perspective when you're growing up within the Institute, because you always have, parents and authority figures that are telling you what you need to do. But when you have someone that's, closer to your age, that's also participating in the arts and giving you a positive role model, you tend to, follow in their footsteps a lot more easier than whether it's an adult telling you, that this is the right thing to do.
So that sounds like that's the way that kids can connect, but then what does that have to do with community?
So being in the Institute, one thing that definitely stands out is diversity. You have a lot of people, you have professionals and a lot of youth leaders that look just like yourself, and you see them being very successful in their particular art form. So, being a person of color and going to that particular program, it gives me a lot more insight of what I can become if I, apply myself.
Wow, that seems like that's been an important aspect for you, for yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
So you had mentioned that you were really kind of shy into yourself when you came to the Institute. Yeah. So did this happen overnight that you shifted? How did you make that change?
So it was definitely through the course of many classes with you, and of course many youth leaders. I took multiple acting classes, public speaking classes, and there were definitely teachers that, wouldn't take no for an answer. They wouldn't let me sit in the back of the class. They always pushed me to be greater and pushed me to better myself. So that is what gave me my confidence, to be on the stage and talk in front of a lot of people. So over the years, seeing other youth leaders and teachers, push me and make me feel like I could do better and feel like, this is where I needed to be. That's what brought me out of my shell.
So now you're about to go to college, right?
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
you feel like prepared now?
Definitely. It's through the institute that, I found that I have a talent for being able to speak in front of a lot of people. So that's what made me want to go into broadcasting. That's what I will be majoring in. And that's going to be my job. I'm going to be in front of the camera talking in front of, nationwide TV. So I feel like, yeah, yeah. So I feel like being in many plays and being in multiple public speaking classes, that's what gave me the confidence to want to pursue a career that bold.
Wow, wow. And you had talked about the diversity at the Institute. Can you just give people an example of what that is like?
Yeah, so going to the institute, you're never with someone that is always from the exact same place you are. We have people that are from multiple places throughout the world. We have families that come from Madagascar. We have families from Cape Verde. We have families that are from Asia, the Caribbean. So it's always a great mix. And it's also very important, being around people that are different from you at a young age, because when you get in the real world, you're never going to be in a room with people that look exactly like you. So when you get to that position, for a kid that's been in a community like the Institute, it's not going to be such a culture shock. You're not going to be so out of your element because you're used to being around people that are different. So you get used to being that, and it's a great thing because you get to learn about other cultures, but also learning more about yourself from someone that is probably from the same place as you, but you don't know that much about your, particular culture. So you learn so much being in that community.
And I would say it probably also helps to just take down stereotypes, right? When you're in relationship with people that are different than you, if you hadn't met them, that's where a lot of those stereotypes and biases come from.
Of course.
So my last question for you is, are you a good youth leader?
I believe that I am. I really do believe that I am. Over the years, I've been able to, find a balance of being, that assertive person that kids can follow lead, but I've also been able to balance that with being fun and also being caring. I've built a lot of great relationships with students who have trusted me, and I wouldn't trade my time here for anything. I've loved the bonds that I've created, and even being there, the students reciprocate that love for me too. So I think that over my time being here, I have been a great youth leader.
I agree. I agree. Thank you so much, Fritz.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop my camera, but why don't you keep us going and
Well, that's
introduce?
actually the end of my slides.
Yep, that's the end of your slide. So you're gonna introduce who's next.
Okay, so next we have introducing family, and that would be Mr. Hector.
Que viva mi papá, que viva mi mamá, que viva Ramón Castilla, que nos dio la libertad. Que viva mi papá, que viva mi mamá, que viva Ramón Castilla, que nos dio la libertad. Cheers for my mom, cheers for my dad, cheers for Ramón Castilla. We are free, we are free. We are free. Hello, everyone. My name is Hector Morales, and as I mentioned before, I'm a percussionist. This is a word that when we were preparing for this presentation, Miss Alysia was asking us, what's a word that pops up to you when you think about the Institute and when we talk about community? And although it may seem obvious, it's a word that sometimes we forget to mention when we talk about community, which is family. And in the Institute, that's definitely something that is at the very core. And that for me, I'm a teaching artist. I work for different organizations and works with different communities. But at the Institute, that has also its own building, you can definitely feel this place. It's kind of a home. And actually, when I start imagining how the Institute looks like, once you walk in, you actually not only see kids and adults and artists, but you see family. And for example, Phritz, which is a youth leader that I work with, or he also helps me out in the classroom. Her sister, Giovanni, was my student for many years, and then also become a helper. And just like them, there are many siblings around. And I think from there, kind of the magic of the Institute starts spreading around, because I think when you're at a place that you can call home, you start also spreading the word and calling the people that you want to be part of it too. And that's how the family starts growing in a way. So I feel like then they call their cousins, their close friends to participate. And of course, the parents that are also very much part of it. But the children themselves, they are more than just students at the Institute. They know that they have other roles to fill in when they are becoming part of this family. They know that they may be role leaders or role models to younger students in the Institute, or they look up to also to older kids like the youth leaders, or they see them also as something that they may become, like older brothers that they have to follow. They also have other roles besides, like in a family. When you're part of a family, you are not only the daughter or the son, but sometimes you have, to do the dishes, for example, or have or help your brother with homework. And the same way, the students that are part of the Institute help out doing other things too. It may be, getting the room ready for the next class, or helping a younger student that's joining the Institute to know how to behave in a particular class. And so in that sense, people at least to fulfill more than one role. And parents, of course, are also very much part of it. Either when we have the classes at the Institute, or now that the classes are being online, the parents are much part of the fabric of the Institute. And now that we through the internet, we are literally in their houses. The parents also step up by being in direct communication with the teaching artist, and also helping the kids up when they have to set up their cameras, whatever it's needed. And that way the community extends. But I think it has its core in the family. Now, in my particular case, as I also mentioned before, I am not originally from the United States. I came from Peru about 20 years ago. I came to study music, actually at William Patterson, where now Phritz is going to be studying. And even though I came to study, and I came in my situation was really a privileged situation, being able to come here to study. As an immigrant, I think you will always struggle to find a place that you can call home, even though I have 20 years here. So the Institute also became for me a place that I could call home, a place that welcomed me, but it also welcomed my culture, Yes, like when I started, the instrument that you saw me play, for example, is the cajon, which is a traditional instrument from Peru. I originally was not working at the institute as teaching the cajon particularly. I was a percussion teacher, a general percussion. But Miss Alysia, knowing that I was from Peru and I played that instrument, she always made the case whenever there was a meeting or a gathering for me maybe to, hey, she would say, Mr. Hector, why don't you play the cajon for us, show the students, tell them about where you come from, about your culture, your traditions. And that was very unique and very special. And that opened doors because it actually connected me to the Peruvian community that also was around where the institute is in Elizabeth. So there were actually some students that say, oh, I am also Peruvian, or I have a parent that is Peruvian. Or ellos me escucharon hablar en español, por ejemplo. They listened to me speaking in Spanish. And a lot of kids can also, that also speak Spanish as a second language, or as a first language in many cases, or parents that don't even speak English, they were able to, they knew they were somebody they could talk to and they can maybe, help them out to communicate with everybody. But I gotta say that I think that everybody in the Institute probably feels the same way I did, regardless where you came from or what was your cultural background or ethnicity or your economic situation. I think the Institute really welcomes everyone and wants to welcome everybody from wherever you're coming from and provides a place that is home to all of us. And that's why probably been there for almost 10 years. And my students, like Phritz, for example, who's been for the many years, a lot of students started very, very young and they continue all the way until they go to, to study to the university or college. And we have some pictures that may help actually show this a little bit more. And this to me feels a little bit like if we're in our living room looking to a family album, because these are pictures from many years ago. The first one you see Miss Alysia, Miss Rhonda there, Miss Ina, and the younger ones. And this is during a summer camp. And that's something also that is unique about the Institute. The summer camp is very intense because we are there every day. So like a family, we see each other every day, from early in the morning until noon, or sometimes some students stay until later on. And again, all mixed up with different ages. So we are all learning how to live together and interact in positive ways through the arts, of course. Then the next picture is actually a picture that I thought it was for a picture of all the youth leaders. But Ms. Alysia reminded me that when this picture was taken, all those students, all those kids there were not youth leaders yet, they were students. And I think most of them, I'll say like 80 or 90% became youth leaders. And you see also siblings there, Sophia and David. And then Mr. Amal, who is in the middle of the picture, who is, one of the definitely most wonderful youth leaders I ever worked with, who also assists me in many classes. Maybe we want to move on to the next slide. And again, here on the first picture, there we have, well, this is a production. So actually at the end of the summer camp, we put together a big production where it's a musical really, where some kids do dance, others music, others specializes in set design, and then others are singers or actors, and everybody collaborates to create this big production at the end of the summer. And it's also such an incredible experience for everybody that I think it creates some strong bonds between everybody that it's part of it. And I see some faces there that see my dear student Jocelyn, who is sitting in the front row to the left. And she now already is a youth leader. There you go, you're pointing at her, yes. She studied with me piano, but she also studied choir and guitar, and took so many classes. Because really, I don't think the main goal of the Institute of Music is to have students graduate as professional artists necessarily, but just to enrich everyone's lives through the arts. And that's what everybody gets exposed to many different art forms that open and make you realize about different parts of you, or different qualities that you have, like Phritz explained before, right? And finally, the last picture is the Walk for the Arts, which is also an activity that it's done once a year during the summer, and it's a fundraiser for the Institute, where everybody participates, the whole community, as you can see there, the youth leaders, the younger children, the younger students, the parents, the staff, and all the teaching artists. For example, for that one, all the teaching artists, we put together a band and we perform, we play at that event. And for me, that's a very unique opportunity when I get to perform and play with my colleagues, which is rare, but I really enjoy it. And also the children get to see us in our element. So all these activities are also unique to the Institute in many ways. And this last picture, I think, talks for itself. So I'm just going to probably turn off my camera and let you see the picture for a couple of seconds, and then Miss Alysia is going to take it from there. Thank you.
Authenticity. The Institute was birthed as a mission program of Third Westminster Presbyterian Church by a group of members, many of them who were educators, who were seeing that the arts were being cut from their schools. They were true believers in the power of the arts and wanted to do something for their congregation's children, but also the children in their neighborhood. They ran a small but meaningful program for over a decade. And as it grew, they realized that they needed sources of funding for it to flourish and continue to thrive. So they incorporated and became a nonprofit. Built around the vision of harmony, helping achieve responsible, motivated, optimistic neighborhood youth, family, and neighborhood were always at the center of it from the beginning. Using the energy, discipline, healing, and transformative power of the arts as a tool for personal development and to foster connections with one another and to build community. And of course, to just enrich their lives. These values spoke to me right away when I first came in contact with the Institute. And when I began as the executive director 11 years ago now, time flies, it was mostly a 2-week summer program that served about 40 students. So here's a picture of my first summer there, summer of 2008. And since then, we've grown a bit. I'm going to show you a picture of 10 years later, summer of 2018. So this is describes the growth of the Institute. We now have grown to be a year-round program that serves about 1,200 students annually, after school, Saturdays, summers, as well as programming in schools and community centers. And while growing, it has been central to not only maintain our founders' values, but expand upon them. And we called upon our community, our students, our parents, our teachers, administrators, youth leaders to do this. So how do we do this? First of all, we seek to find solutions to the barriers that are keeping children from arts learning. First and foremost, we subsidize about 2/3 of the students' tuition through our fundraising and provide additional scholarships and financial aid as well, so that we never have to turn a child away. If transportation is the issue, we seek to find a solution. If there's a special need, we find the right structure and the right artist for that child. If there's a language barrier, we do our best to break down that barrier. For example, we once had a family that walked in. They were they had recently come to the United States, and they spoke only Mandarin, and no one on staff spoke Mandarin. So, but we had a former family that did, and we called them up, and they showed up right away. And they were able to become the ambassadors of that family, so that that family could understand, participate, and feel included. Access is central to our value of equity. And so some of the way that we do this is in terms of how we hire administrative staff, we seek to find people who are true believers and who value the arts. And then those who are able to foster relationships with all their connections, with our students, with our families, employees. The importance of authentic connection and meaningful impact informs our programming decisions and everything we do. A grant opportunity, an income generating opportunity, it will never outweigh our commitment to our values. We're also intentional about the teaching artists that we hire, and we build that relationship as we grow together. And we want to make sure that we treat them with that same way, where who they matter is more important than what they do. We build relationships with our teachers, and they're building relationships with their students and with the parents and with each other. So a majority of our teachers are with us, as Mr. Hector explained, over many years. And then that's circles of relationships. So relationships like Mr. Hector explained, he's known Jocelyn, he's known Giovanni over the years. Giovanni is the sister of Phritz, and Jocelyn is the sister of Julio. And so then we have all of these circles of relationship that just deepen over time and strengthen over time. And then there's the youth leaders, as Phritz spoke a lot about them. And our youth leaders are really the walking embodiments of the Institute's core values of harmony. They are the responsible, motivated, optimistic neighborhood youth. And their job is to nurture more of them, nurture more responsible, motivated, optimistic kids. Our youth leaders, they come in all different shapes and sizes, so to speak. We have, let me switch this. We have the arts kid, of course, but we also have the sports kid. And then we have the book smart kid and the street smart kid, and we have the square peg and a round hole kid. So the list goes on. And of course, kids are not just one thing, even though they're often tried to be put into one spot. But the thing is that kids, they are all different. And at the Institute, we make it really clear that everyone is accepted for who they are. And then once they have found their whole home there, they're able to become their authentic selves. And as they grow, they can feel more comfortable and confident. And then they're inspiring that in other children and teaching other children how to be that way, especially in a time now when school is not a safe place for so many children, where so many children are being bullied and criticized and feel less than. A space like the Institute, where older young people are there to support you, to take care of you, and to tell you that you are just fine as you are, is really a powerful tool. So that authenticity really builds our community. And they are avenues for exploring the wide range of art forms are also a part of this community. It's built into the program. You know, in the summer, we sort of make it mandatory that you have to expand your horizons and try new things. And through this, they discover who they really are and all of the many things they are capable of and good at. And because relationship is at the foundation of all the work that we do, there's a deep level of belonging and safety. And this allows for everyone to be able, from the novice to the veteran institute kid, to take risks and exceed even their own expectations, because they're doing it not just for themselves, they're doing it for each other. The Institutes is creative in its essence, in part due to maybe me being an artist myself. That has greatly impacted my administrative leadership style, as I believe, like the art I do, the organization I run is done through practice, trial and error, exploring, getting feedback, getting input, moving more from my instinct and inspiration and less from stats and protocol. Although, you know, I keep learning why that's so important too, as well. But as the program evolves, it evolves in direct response to the community, to address a need, to explore an opportunity, to nurture a passion. The program is not static by any means. It's actually quite alive, and our participants become co-creators of this environment. Each part impacts another. An example of this is our Little Farmers program, which was started by a music teacher of ours. And he was living in an apartment and had no space to grow vegetables, but he grew up on a farm. So farming and gardening was very important to him. And he asked if he could use a part of our land. And so I struck a deal with him. You know, I said, yes, you can use part of the land as long as you make it an educational, you add an educational component. And thus Little Farmers was born. And then that led to the creation of Young Chefs, which, what are we going to do with all this food that we're growing? Now we have to cook it. And currently, and as you see in this other picture, the young chefs are gathering herbs that they're going to go back and cook with. You can tell by their aprons. And that's when our young chefs class was born, and it's now being run by one of our parents, who we found out was also an educator and a chef. And he's now teaching that class, and it happens to be one of the most popular classes. I can't tell you how many kids cry and beg me to be in that class. And this is just an example of, this is just one example of the Institute's ecosystem, one that allows everyone to be a creator. A strong idea that is in alignment with what we do can have a space to grow there. You know, and that, so when we're looking at the authenticity is really key in the creation of community, because once you become a part of the Institute, you become a part of creating it. Authenticity.
Family.
And growth. Those are the things that help make our community. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us during this time. We have really enjoyed being able to put this together. That was in and of itself really a wonderful experience for us. And what we wanted to do is leave some time open for if there are any questions or wanted clarity about anything, or just needed more information, or wanted to talk about your own community. We would love to take a couple of minutes. You can put it either in the chat, or you're welcome to turn on your camera, and I'm going to Oh, well, let me just do a couple. This is our contact information, if you are interested. And then also just a big thank you, and thank you to everyone that helped put this together. Of course, our New Jersey State Council on the Arts, but also to the Mid-Atlantic. Thank you so much for putting on this Teaching Artist Retreat. So yeah, any questions, any thoughts, anything that anyone wants to share? And if not, we might ask a question to you. We'll hang out for a sec. Or even a comment is fine. I think that we were just so clear and amazing that we have answered every question that could exist about community. Oh, yes, unmic or chat would be great. And yeah, and you know what? Maybe while, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for being here. Tiffany said, great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alysia and Hector and Fritz, did you want to share out some of the questions that you had for the group?
Sure. Oh, hold on, here's one. Carmel says, thank you, great organizational concept, especially embracing those who are not artists per se, but learn to grow, cook, and the concept of sustainable food. Yes, thank you so much, Carmel. We've really been expanding that part of our program to also include more wellness work. Definitely that was the start of it, and seeing how in our cooking class, which Fritz has been a youth leader in that class a lot, but really introducing kids to different foods, healthier choices. What have you noticed with that, Fritz?
So one thing I noticed, of course, with the chef's class, it brings a lot of culture to the table, because there are many dishes that, you know, certain people you don't know about until you get to that particular class. Or you will see some kids that don't know much about us one dish, but when we talk about something else, they're hands-on and they're like right into it. So that's another part that brings a lot of community together, just learning through food. Like that's one thing that we can all bond over.
Yes,
So,
we can.
yeah. So yeah, I find that a lot of people do connect over that class.
Yes, and we added yoga to our summer program, as well as meditation. And we did a lot of that from kids asking about it, and also realizing that there was a real need. There was a lot of anxiety building up. We're also doing more around self-esteem work and really empowerment work. So yes, so thanks about that. Hector, did you want to ask your question, and maybe we'll see if we can get any responses?
Sure. Yes. I mean, I was curious if there were any other teaching artists on the call, because for the nature of the kind of work we do, we interact with different communities and we serve different communities in different ways. But I was wondering, what was your experience as a teaching artist entering other communities, and you know, you have something that you want to share about that experience?
Well, you know what, I can, I'll sort of answer that question, just because I spent a lot of time as a teaching artist for a long time. And so before I started, well, I've always done a little bit of work as an admin, but I spent a lot of time being a teaching artist, going in and out of different communities. And I really loved some of the different, I mean, I worked all over the place in all different types of organizations. And I love being able to go in and kind of see what the culture of that space was, but I would say I often felt like I was just kind of visiting, right? I'd come in, I'd do my thing, and I'd leave, and that there wasn't necessarily deep investment in me. Not, there would be appreciation, but I didn't find that there was really inclusion. So, you know, certainly it was fine at the time because I didn't know that it could be different. But then as I grew as an artist, and then certainly as an administrator, I saw how valuable, I love teaching artists, right? I am a teaching artist. I think teaching artists are some of the most fantastic people in the world because they are so full of passion and artistry and personality and just big hearts. And so, you know, why wouldn't we want to spend more time with teaching artists? Why not get more of their ideas? Why not be more inclusive? So that was a big part of, as we grew the Institute, to make sure to include some of my favorite artists, but also to have voice of the artist be an important part of our work.
Thank you, Alysia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think let's wrap up for today. This is Susan from the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies, and I just want to thank you all for attending this afternoon's presentation. Before we end, I want to let you know that recordings of our workshop will be available on NASA's YouTube page within about a week. Please join us on our Facebook group. I'm going to go ahead and chat that Facebook group email right now. And then if you would watch your email inbox for a brief survey every Friday of the retreat to let us know what you think. We're definitely interested to hear. I want to again make mention that the 2020 Mid-Atlantic Teaching Artists Virtual Retreat is a co-sponsored project of the Mid-Atlantic State Arts Agencies in partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies. We're very grateful for the generous support of all of these collaborators and grateful for your participation today. And with that, I want to thank you, Phritz and Hector and Alysia, for a great presentation today. Thanks, Laura, for your interpretation, and Carol for your support. And with that, we'll say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.